Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Aleskay, and welcome to my channel. Here, we'll explore health, wellness, and simple tips to help you live a healthier, happier life. Let's get started and take steps together towards a better you. Have you ever wondered why, as we age, we don't just feel more tired, but we seem to catch every cold or recover slower than we used to? The common answer is, well, that's just aging. Woo, that's just aging. But what if I told you that the key to unlocking robust, age-defying immunity isn't hidden in some exotic supplement, but right inside the powerhouses of your cells? For decades, we've treated the immune system like a standalone defense force, something you boost only when you're sick. But here is the critical truth the longevity science is revealing. Your immune system is not just a defense system, it is your ultimate maintenance and repair crew. And when this crew starts to fail, that's when accelerated aging, chronic disease, and metabolic dysfunction take hold. The real enemy isn't the occasional pathogen. It's a process called immunosenescence, the gradual decline of immune function, which is fueled by a smoldering fire inside every cell. Chronic, low-grade inflammation, what we call inflammaging. This subtle, constant internal stress silently depletes your energy, compromises your metabolic health, and leaves you vulnerable. At the heart of this breakdown, the humble mitochondria. When they aren't functioning optimally, your immune cells can't produce the energy necessary to identify threats, repair tissue, or communicate effectively. They essentially run out of power. Today, we're cutting through the noise. We're not talking about generalized wellness tips. We're going deep into the biomedical research to establish a precise 10-minute daily routine, a series of hormetic triggers and micronutrient optimizations that specifically targets mitochondrial health, calms inflammaging, and fundamentally shifts your cellular resilience. We're going to unpack 6 science-backed, surprising insights, including the single best time of day to consume vitamin C for maximum cellular impact, the hormetic trigger you can implement in 60 seconds that dramatically upregulates your body's cellular cleanup crew, autophagy, and the micronutrient deficiency that is the silent killer of T-cell function. Stick with me, because by the end of this deep dive, you'll have a practical, evidence-based roadmap to rebuild your resilience from the cell up. The 60-second cold shock. Activating hormesis, let's start with the quickest, most impactful action in our 10-minute routine, the 60-second cold shock. Here's what's happening at the cellular level. When you expose your body to acute, controlled stress, like a 30 to 60-second burst of cold water at the end of your shower, you trigger a biological phenomenon known as hormesis. Hormesis is essentially the principle that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, but applied to your cells. Specifically, that sudden temperature drop activates your sympathetic nervous system and triggers a release of norepinephrine, a powerful anti-inflammatory messenger. But the real magic lies in what happens to your white blood cells. Studies, particularly on subjects engaging in cold exposure, show a significant increase in the circulation of lymphocytes and natural killer NK cells, the body's primary anti-cancer and antiviral surveillance team. Let me break this down with a simple analogy. Think of your immune system like a police force. In a normal, comfortable state, some officers are on break, some are at the station. The cold shock acts like a sudden, harmless alarm. It forces all officers to rapidly mobilize and patrol the perimeter, dramatically increasing immediate immune surveillance across your tissues. The research suggests that this acute, non-damaging stress actually makes the system smarter and more responsive over time, reducing the duration and severity of illness. The practical protocol: at the very end of your shower, turn the water to cold as you can tolerate, for 30 to 60 seconds, focusing on your neck and upper chest. This is a 1-minute high-yield investment that actively programs your immune system for resilience. If this breakdown is resonating with you so far, go ahead and press the hype button, drop a quick comment about your current approach to cold exposure, and hit subscribe. It helps more people discover this kind of science-backed health content. The chrononutrient rule for T cells, our next key insight, dives into the precision of chrononutrition, the concept that when you consume a nutrient can profoundly impact its efficacy, especially for immune function. We're talking about optimizing 2 immune pillars, zinc and vitamin D. The immune system is inextricably linked to our circadian rhythm. Our T cells, the highly specialized immune cells responsible for remembering and executing long-term defenses, are most active at night. They proliferate and travel during deep sleep to establish immune memory. The research suggests that the enzymes responsible for zinc uptake in T cells show variable expression throughout the day, peaking in the evening. Zinc is absolutely critical. It is a cofactor for over 300 enzymes and is essential for T cell maturation and function. A zinc deficiency is perhaps the fastest way to induce immunosenescence. Similarly, vitamin D, which is less of a vitamin and more of a potent steroid hormone, acts as an immune system modulator, calming down excessive inflammatory responses while supporting the antimicrobial functions of the innate immune system. The mechanisms here are complex, involving vitamin D receptors, VDR, expressed on almost every immune cell. The practical protocol: instead of taking your zinc if supplementing, and vitamin D in the morning with coffee, shift it to your evening routine, about 1 hour before bed. This aligns the delivery of these critical immune cofactors with the peak activity and differentiation phase of your T cells, essentially optimizing the building blocks when the cell factory is running full tilt. By implementing this simple timing switch, you're maximizing your body's ability to create a robust, lasting immune memory, all while you sleep. Mitochondrial Detox Minute, our third element in the 10-minute routine, focuses on 1 minute of intentional breathwork to address the energy crisis at the cellular level: mitochondrial dysfunction. Here's what's happening at the cellular level. Mitochondria constantly generate energy, but in doing so, they also produce metabolic exhaust, reactive oxygen species, ROS, or free radicals. While ROS are necessary for signaling in some immune functions, like the respiratory burst that kills bacteria, an excess of ROS, often driven by a high-sugar diet, chronic stress, or nutrient imbalance, leads to oxidative stress. This oxidative stress damages the mitochondria themselves, leading to less energy for the immune cell and thus a weaker response. This is where the power of intentional breathing comes in. Simple, focused breath work, specifically a minute of deep diaphragmatic breathing, can profoundly impact the balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide, which are key regulators of mitochondrial function. When you breathe deeply and slowly, you reduce tension and activate the parasympathetic nervous system. This shift calms the entire metabolic state of the cell. The practical protocol: for 1 minute 3 times a day, or simply for 1 minute as part of your morning routine, practice this. Inhale deeply for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale slowly for 6 seconds, and repeat. This isn't just about relaxation. The controlled exhale helps to optimize the CO2 balance, which acts as a powerful vasodilator, improving circulation and oxygen delivery to the tissues. Better oxygenation means cleaner, more efficient energy production, directly reducing the burden of ROS on your immune cells. If you're enjoying this breakdown and finding these actionable steps helpful, consider subscribing. I post weekly deep dives into longevity science and cellular optimization. The sulfur gap in glutathione production, our fourth strategy, addresses a critical yet often overlooked micronutrient gap that underpins your body's most powerful antioxidant: sulfur. At the core of cellular defense is glutathione, often called the body's master antioxidant. Your immune cells, particularly phagocytes that engulf and destroy pathogens, rely on massive stores of glutathione to neutralize the toxic byproducts of battle. Without sufficient glutathione, the immune cell essentially destroys itself trying to destroy the enemy. Production of glutathione requires 3 amino acids: cysteine, glutamate, and glycine, and the bioavailability of cysteine is often the rate-limiting step. Where do we get the necessary sulfur compounds that allow us to synthesize cysteine? From allium and cruciferous vegetables. Think garlic, onions, broccoli, kale, and cabbage. These foods contain sulfur compounds like sulforaphane in broccoli sprouts and allicin in garlic that not only directly feed the glutathione pathway, but also act as powerful hormetic stressors, activating the NRF2 pathway. The NRF2 pathway is like the master switch for your cell's detoxification antioxidant defenses. The practical protocol: Dedicate a minute or two of your 10-minute routine to preparation. Consume a daily dose of a high-sulfur food. Listen, this could be adding a few cloves of crushed fresh garlic to a meal. The crushing releases the beneficial allicin, or preparing and consuming a teaspoon of broccoli sprouts. Broccoli sprouts are an excellent source because they contain up to 100 times more sulforaphane than mature broccoli. By closing this sulfur gap, you're not just eating a healthy food, you are providing the foundational biochemistry necessary for your immune cells to fight and regenerate without incurring self-damage. The fiber immunity axis, our fifth daily action, takes us away from the cell interior and into the gut, focusing on the fiber immunity axis. This is about optimizing your gut microbiome's input to keep inflammation low. Reality is that 70 to 80% of your immune tissue resides in the gut-associated lymphoid tissue, or GALT. What you feed the bacteria here dictates the health of this massive immune monitoring system. When you consume highly refined foods, you feed microbes that produce inflammatory byproducts, leading to a breakdown of the gut lining and allowing inflammatory signals to leak into your circulation. This is a primary driver of inflammaging. The opposite happens when you feed your beneficial bacteria prebiotic fibers. These microbes ferment the fiber to produce short-chain fatty acids, SCFA, most notably butyrate. Butyrate is not just fuel for the cells lining your colon. It acts as a powerful anti-inflammatory signaling molecule. Butyrate can cross the blood-brain barrier and has been shown in peer-reviewed studies to modulate the activity of T regulatory cells, the peacekeepers of the immune system. The practical protocol: incorporate a small concentrated dose of a resistant starch or soluble fiber into your morning routine. This takes less than a minute. Think a spoonful of ground flaxseed stirred into your water, or 1-2 tablespoons of chicory root powder, or a scoop of green banana flour blended into a morning smoothie. Simple, consistent feeding of your beneficial bacteria primes your immune system for a non-inflammatory day, effectively lowering your body's baseline stress and enhancing resilience. If you're finding this helpful, tap the hype button and share your thoughts in the comments. And of course, subscribe if you want more deep dives into nutrition and longevity science. The Magnesium Sleep Shield, our final core action, is the easiest to overlook, but the most detrimental to skip. Leveraging magnesium to optimize the bedrock of immune health, sleep. Sleep is when your immune system officially conducts its operational review. It's when your body consolidates immune memory, creating long-term antibodies, and clears out cellular debris. The problem is that many of us are living in a state of chronic sleep debt, often compounded by a widespread deficiency in magnesium. Magnesium is a critical cofactor in over 300 enzymatic reactions, and its role in sleep is profound. It helps regulate the neurotransmitter GABA, calming the nervous system, and it is essential for regulating your natural 24-hour cycle, your circadian rhythm. A disrupted circadian rhythm is fundamentally an inflammatory state that weakens your immune response. The practical protocol: before you move on to your day, dedicate the final minute of your routine to ensuring your evening is set up for success by consuming or preparing a magnesium-rich drink. While the protocol is for the morning, the action sets up the nightly immune renewal. If you choose to supplement, look for highly bioavailable forms like magnesium glycinate or magnesium L-threonate, taken 30-60 minutes before bed. However, the 1-minute preparation in the morning is simply to preload a tablespoon of chia seeds or pumpkin seeds into your water bottle. This tiny, conscious effort ensures you are supporting the deepest, most restorative stage of sleep, which is non-negotiable for sustained immunity and longevity. Before we move on, a quick reminder: if you're enjoying this, smash that hype button, like, comment, and subscribe. Sustained immunity. It really supports the channel and helps spread these tools to more people. Conclusion: what we've discussed today is a fundamental shift in how we approach immune health. It's moving beyond the old paradigm of boosting the system when you're already sick and instead adopting the mindset of a cellular optimizer, constantly fine-tuning the metabolic and hormetic signals that govern your resilience. The 10-minute daily routine isn't about adding stress. It's about microdosing beneficial stress and providing precise nutritional inputs to trigger a cascade of anti-aging, immune-supportive mechanisms. The 60-second cold shock to activate immune surveillance and leverage hormesis. The chrononutrient rule to align vitamin D and zinc delivery with nocturnal T-cell activation, mitochondrial detox minute of breathwork to improve oxygenation and calm oxidative stress, the sulfur gap strategy to fuel glutathione, your body's master cellular defender, the fiber immunity axis to ensure your gut microbiome lowers your body's inflammatory baseline, the magnesium sleep shield to support deep, restorative, immune memory building sleep. Remember, longevity isn't just about how long you live. It's about your health span, the number of years you live with energy, vitality, and resilience. Every one of these actions takes between 30 seconds and 2 minutes, easily fitting into your morning or evening routine, and collectively requiring less than 10 minutes of intentional action per day. Your challenge this week is simple. Add just one of these micronutrient optimizations or hormetic triggers to your life. Whether it's the 60-second cold rinse or moving your vitamin D to the evening, and notice the difference in your energy and overall resilience. And this is the power of evidence-based practical longevity science. If this brought you value, like the video and subscribe to join others optimizing their health span. I'll see you in the next deep dive.